Yes, we cannot do a show without Donald Trump. Republican candidate Donald Trump has been the frontrunner in the polls week to week in the run-up to America's presidential nominee elections in February. But two new polls surveying GOP supporters in Iowa may indicate the business mogul's fall from grace or fall from disgrace, as the case may be. The polls have placed Texas Senator Ted Cruz 2 to 9 points ahead of Trump, who, however, is still leading in most national polls. Now, this change in momentum ahead of the Iowa caucus comes amid Trump's latest Twitter tirade. Speaking of Saudi, accusing Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Talal of using daddy's money, I'm quoting Donald Trump here, to control U.S. politics after the prince called on Trump to withdraw from the race. Just the latest in a string of spats for the controversial candidate. As, of course, I cannot do this without Ami Kaufman. He's with me in studio. First, though, before we have so much fun with this, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the following report by ABC News of where Trump stands this morning.
Donald Trump is taking aim at his new chief rival.
I would say I have far better judgment than Ted.
The real estate mogul appeared on two political talk shows today criticizing Senator Ted Cruz.
I don't think he's qualified to be president. You can't walk into the Senate and scream and call people liars and not be able to cajole and get along with people. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
The comments come as the Texas senator is trumping Trump in Iowa. Cruz now with a 10-point lead in one poll, up to 31% to Trump's 21. Trump was quick to blast the new numbers, tweeting overnight, "Don't trust Des Moines Register poll," saying it's biased. The other big story inside the numbers, the fall of Dr. Ben Carson, now down to 13%.
Poll numbers go up and down.
He appeared on ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos and doubled down on his threat to leave the Republican Party if party leaders tried to manipulate the nomination process using what he called backroom deals.
If that is the case, then, I'm out of here.
On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton is getting some help from the president, TV's President Fitzgerald Grant.
She's by far the most qualified, the most experienced, and has the right ideas to take the country where I believe it needs to go.
Actor Tony Goldwyn from the hit ABC show Scandal campaigning for the frontrunner.
Does that seem right to people? No.
Her rival, Bernie Sanders, one of the few candidates out on the trail today, making at least 4 stops in Iowa. Critical campaigning with just 7 weeks until the Iowa caucuses and just 2 days until the next GOP debate.
Joined on the phone also from Washington, D.C. by Times of Israel, correspondent Rebecca Shimoni-Stoyle. Rebecca, I'm almost envious of you because this election just keeps giving and giving and giving. But I'm wondering with you, what are we looking at right now? Has the Trump tirade actually helped Ted Cruz go up in the polls? Is this the next play in the game?
A short answer would say yes, but it would say yes mostly in a world in which we looked very selectively at different results for different caucus and primary polls. And I think that's probably the most interesting thing, is that depending on which state you look at, or whether you're looking at the national polls, you get very radically different pictures of how Donald Trump is doing.
And what they're doing. Now, looking at this, just before I turn to, the week that was, or the weekend that was Donald Trump's tweet weekend, what is this doing for the Democrats? Because for people sitting outside of the United States, this just seems to solidify Hillary Clinton's run in so many ways, or is that not affecting it at this stage?
Well, see, I think it's very interesting because Donald Trump's kind of weekend of tweets, of course, it's too early to measure a lot of the most recent things via polling data. But one of the things that we do see is that national polls of approval for the current administration are also not doing very well. So on one hand, Donald Trump has managed to possibly alienate some people via his tweets, via some of his comments. On the other hand, Clinton's candidacy is being tied by pretty much every single Republican candidate to the Obama administration foreign policy, which at this moment is rather unpopular. And so it's kind of difficult to say whether Trump is remaining stable or whether Clinton is being kind of mired down in Obama's foreign policy muck right now.
At this point. No, very good point, Rebecca. Ami, that said, Trump, we're looking at the poll numbers. They have changed. Ted Cruz, with the lead. That said, there's not like 24 hours that pass that Trump does not dominate international headlines, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's totally on the net. He's dominating the whole communication scene. I don't know how he actually has time to do it. He has time to tweet. The man is on Twitter and he's campaigning and he's speaking and he's tweeting. I don't know how he did. But can we just take a look at some of those tweets that he said?
Please.
I mean, you mentioned it. The Saudi prince bin Talal said that he hopes that Donald Trump will not win the nomination. Let's see the tweet first and see how Donald Trump responded. He said, "You are a disgrace not only to the GOP but to all America. Withdraw from the U.S. presidential race as you will never win." That is coming from the sun. And of course, Donald will not sit quietly after that, of course, will he? Let's see what Donald said. Dopey prince. He said that to the Saudi prince. Dopey prince Al-Walid Talal wants to control our U.S. politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it when I get elected. Can I just say something?
Please.
Most of Donald Trump's money comes from daddy. Donald Trump would not be a rich man unless it was for daddy's money. In fact, some people say that he pretty much stayed stagnant with the amount of money that he has now and to what he inherited. He didn't really do well. He didn't really make another few billion with that.
I really think that when it comes to, if you're a presidential nominee hopeful, I wouldn't go head-to-head with Saudi.
Very true.
I wouldn't go head-to-head with Saudi.
I wouldn't go head-to-head with any kind of, with any Muslims, by the way, when a lot of your money is invested in Gulf states and other Muslim countries.
Exactly. So we have that.
Yes.
And what more tweets? What else did we see from that?
Well, not necessarily more tweets. Just something I want to say. First of all, a term that I think we're going to be hearing a lot in the next coming weeks, and that is the term called a brokered convention. I think you're going to be hearing this a lot.
Thank you.
And people are going to start talking about this because there's a lot of reports that the Republican convention will be a brokered convention, which means that it will be a convention where there is not one person, one candidate who got the majority of delegates needed to become the nominee. And what happens in that case? There are many, many scenarios of what can happen in that case. So brokered convention is one thing that we're going to be talking about. And of course, what we saw a little bit about in the report, more threats coming from Donald Trump and from Ben Carson to run an independent race. And what that means for the Republican, for other Republican candidates. Does it mean, is it basically, the end of the Republican process? Because that way, he'll be stealing so many votes from the Republican Party.
He'll be stealing so
it'll
many
basically
votes,
be a Hillary win immediately.
And I think it goes without saying because there's so many rumors right now that the Republicans are going to pull out some form of a white horse, so to speak, in that convention. That Romney will return.
I don't know about Romney. They've been talking to Romney over and over again, and he keeps saying no. It seems like a pretty adamant no.
Right.
I'd be surprised if he said yes at the end. But you know what?
I
don't know anything about this race anymore. People were saying that Trump was going to last a month or two. I just want to remind people he has been leading the polls for 5 months now.
For 5 months?
That is not
large margin. Let's not discount that.
That is not a blip on your screen. That is a long-term.
Very true.